In the headlines, 7 feared dead in auto crash along Bauchi-Jos Road. 10 residents of Dutz and Aba in Zaria abducted by bandits. Twitter users react to lift of suspension after 7 months. And on the foreign scene, 2 Israeli officers killed in a case of mistaken identity at West Bank base. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Now the news in detail. Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Bauchi State Command, Yusuf Abdullahi, has confirmed the death of 7 people in a fatal crash that occurred on Thursday at Hakayaki village close to Buzaye Nobordo town along Bauchi-Jos Road. Abdullahi, who confirmed the sad incident, said 2 other people sustained various degrees of injuries in the crash involving a Toyota Hiace bus and a Sharon bus, which eventually went up in flames, attributing the crash to speed violation, which resulted into a head-on collision. The sector commandant appealed to motorists to adhere to speed limit regulation. Items recovered from the crash included 6 phones and the sum of 109,090 naira cash, among others. Bandits have invaded the Tashar Meitashi in Dutz and Aba ward of Zaria local government area and abducted 10 residents. Reports say the bandits in their numbers invaded the village around midnight on Wednesday with sophisticated weapons, shooting sporadically before house-to-house search for their victims. Reports say the porous Galadimawa forest is alleged to be housing most of the bandits terrorizing Zaria, Giwa, and Bernangwari. Recall that Dutz and Aba ward in Zaria is alleged to be a kidnapper's den in the last 1 year, with all the banditry attacks recorded in Zaria emanating from the axis. Bandits have abducted an unspecified number of traders when they attacked their convoy along Kaduna-Bernangwari Highway. Daily Trust reports that 1 trader is feared dead as the bandits blocked the highway close to the Ungwariako forest around 11 a.m. on Wednesday. Efforts to speak with the police spokesman in the state, ASP Jalige Mohammed, failed as calls to his phones were not answered at the time of filing in this report. Twitter users react to lifting of ban on the social media platform about 7 months after Nigerian government banned the usage of Twitter in the country following a tweet by President Buhari warning secessionists. The government removes the suspension following an agreement between the authorities and the Twitter management. This comes months after many businesses suffered loss due to the unavailability of the social media platform to advertise or carry out their business activities. Trust TV's Chijoke Okafor tells us more.
From 5th June 2021 to 13th January 2022, the usage of Twitter in Nigeria stood still, following a government ban placed on the social media platform. The ban occurred after Twitter deleted tweets made by the Nigeria's president, Muhammadu Buhari, warning the southeastern people of Nigeria, predominantly Igbo people, of a potential repeat of the 1967 Biafran Civil War due to the ongoing insurgency in northeastern Nigeria. However, barely 3 days after the ban, it was reported that the ban had cost the country over 6 billion naira. This is in addition to other private business entities that have gone almost bankrupt as a result of the ban. Samuel Ajako runs a business that leverages on the power of social media to gain popularity amongst potential clients, especially Twitter. He explains that the lifting of the ban is a welcomed development, only that it is coming months after some businesses have almost been run down.
Okay, so it affected us in 2 ways, and I'll just give you a summary of those 2. The first one is we had a big problem convincing investors that Nigeria is a country to invest in, because with the policy that was passed of banning Twitter, it affected how startups in Nigeria showcased their businesses, how we were able as venture capital firms to track these businesses and ensure that they are actually productive enough. So it affected, we had to struggle to convince investors that Nigeria is still a market to invest in. The second thing there that it did for us here, it was difficult for us, like I mentioned, to track such businesses. We found it difficult to interact with such businesses. Facebook and the other social media is not as reputable as that of Twitter. A lot of persons who are diligent in their business use Twitter to communicate and also reach out to their customers. So it did affect. We had some complaints filed into those businesses that we have under our portfolios.
On 12th January 2022, the Nigerian government lifted the ban after Twitter agreed to pay an applicable tax and establish a legal entity in Nigeria during the first quarter of 2022. This, some say, would help create employment opportunities in the country.
To me, I think maybe it's because of the election coming up, so they need to use the platform to, do some campaigns and everything. So, but this is a good one. Well, to an extent, I would say they don't have their what they call it, people at heart, because if this thing happens, they've not corrected it, they've not done any reform to say, okay, that because of this is why we shut down this platform, the things that led to this, have they addressed it? They've not addressed it. They've not really put in something that we can say, yes, they actually went for because of what we protested against, and
Twitter is popular with many Nigerians, especially the younger generation. The social media platform has been used as a mobilizing tool for activism. Some influencers and activists capitalized on the power of Twitter to rally support during the hashtag #EndSARS protest back in 2020. Chijoke Okafu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A group championing the cause of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo in Kwara State asks APC leader Bola Tinubu to throw in the towel for the vice president to contest in 2023. Tinubu on Monday informed President Buhari of his intention to contest the election. Another group, however, is rallying support for former Senate President Bukola Saraki to get the position and turn around the fortunes of the country. The report.
It is carnival-like at the entrance of the palace of the Emir of Ilorin when the group canvassing for the candidature of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo to vie for the presidency stormed the palace to seek the blessings of the monarch. Emir of Ilorin, Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, received the team and prayed for the best man to emerge at the end of the day. The group believes that Professor Yemi Osinbajo has the capacity and qualities to lead the country, asking Bola Tinubu to throw in the towel for the vice president.
We are rooting for humility. We are rooting for competence. We are rooting for economic emancipation. We are rooting for better foreign relations. We are rooting for better education. We are rooting for youth and women empowerment. We are rooting for a society where you and I can be proud to call ourselves Nigerians. And we want a Nigerian president. We are not interested in we're not interested in where anybody is coming from, but we're looking at the competence, the ability to deliver. If you can recall your mind back, when our president, Muhammadu Buhari, went on treatment abroad sometime, he formally handed over to Osinbajo. Within that 6 months, Nigerians had a breath of fresh air. And people were so happy because he brought in policies within that 120 days, of what actually we could feel like we have a president.
Elsewhere in Ilorin, the Forum for Former State Legislators in Kwara enumerates qualities Bukola Saraki possesses that qualify him to rule the country. The group urges the PDP members across the country to endorse his candidature.
It is the pleasure of our forum, the PDP ex-lawmakers of the Kwara State House of Assembly, to speak with you today in support of the presidential ambition of the former president of the Senate in the 8th Legislature, Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki, CON, the Waziri of Ilorin. We are gratified that our state, Kwara, is in the north-central geopolitical zone of the dear nation, and he and he has received the endorsement of the states therein. From time immemorial, since the country launched itself into presidential system of government in the Second Republic, we in Kwara, Kogi, Niger, Benue, Plateau, Nasarawa, and FCT have always played significant role in whoever had won the presidency.
National convention of both PDP and APC will hold later this year, and presidential candidates of the parties will be picked for Nigerians to decide who to vote for.
Federal Capital Territory High Court has refused an application by members of the Kano State All Progressives Congress loyal to Governor Abdullahi Ganduje to set aside the judgment which upheld congresses of the party held by another faction. The court, presided by Justice Hamza Muazu, also declined jurisdiction on the application to stay execution of the judgment pending the determination of an appeal at the appeal courts. The court had on November 30, 2021, upheld the ward and local government congresses won by members believed to be loyal to Senator Ibrahim Shekarau and Senator Jibrin Barau, Kano North, numbering about 17,908 members. Zamfara State Deputy Governor Mahadi Gusau has accepted the challenge to tender his resignation alongside that of the state governor Bello Muhammad, who swore with the Holy Quran to relinquish his position at a press conference in the government house. In a statement issued by the State Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Abba Bello, while reacting to the governor's statement that the only reason stopping him from resigning from his position as the governor is the constitutional provision that will automatically transfer power to his deputy, described the governor's utterances as mere grandstanding and another attempt to further play on the collective intelligence of Zamfara people. The deputy governor expressed readiness to tender his resignation alongside that of the governor as his own sacrifice towards bringing an end to the prevailing state of misrule that has become the hallmark of the administration. Mahadi Gusau further advised the governor to concentrate on planning his life after retirement, which is fast approaching. Publisher and newspaper columnist Dele Momodu on Thursday declared interest to participate in the presidential race in 2023 on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. He made the declaration at the PDP National Secretariat in Abuja after formally presenting his letter of intent to vie for the presidential ticket to the national chairman, Iyorchia Ayu. Momodu said the action is taken because he could not become the president unless his political party first nominates him. In his remarks, Ayu promised to provide a level playing field for all aspirants, adding that the party has no preferred candidate, that the party will support him if he emerges as its candidate, and will expect all other aspirants to team up with whoever becomes the standard bearer of the party. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break, tricycle operators in Kano return to business. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Updates. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. You heard that 7 people have been killed in a fatal crash that occurred on Thursday at Hakayaki village close to Buzaye, Nabordo town along Bauchi-Jos Road, Bauchi State. Plus, bandits have invaded Teshar Maitashi in Dutsan Aba ward of Zaria local government area and abducted 10 residents. Moving on to more news, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency on Thursday announced 395 new cases of circulating mutant poliovirus type 2 across 27 states and the Federal Capital Territory, barely 16 months after the World Health Organization certified Nigeria wild poliovirus free. The Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Faisal Shoaib, announced this in a press statement. He said the agency traced the outbreak on the suspension of immunization programs due to the COVID-19 pandemic, adding that if it further created new immunity gaps which have led to new outbreaks. Shaib further explained that malnutrition occasioned by increase in poverty is also a predisposing factor in exposed children. Recall that WHO and partners in August 2020 declared Nigeria certified wild poliovirus free after the country reported its last case of the wild poliovirus in 2016. Academic Staff Union of Tertiary Institutions in Benue State has commenced an indefinite strike action. Chairman and Secretary of the union, which consists of colleges of education and polytechnics in the state, Chagba Kurayemen and Dennis Eka, in a statement issued to newsmen in Makurdi, explained that the strike is part of measures to press home their demands for the payment of benefits to their members. Kurayemen insisted that the state government should document their appeals and resolutions before the union could back down. Meanwhile, the State Supervising Commissioner for Education, Godwin Oyiwona, said the union is asked to suspend the strike to give room for further negotiations. The union is protesting, among others, the non-payment of 5 months arrears of 2017 salaries, improper implementation of the contributory pension scheme, non-implementation of the new minimum wage and its consequential adjustments, which should have commenced in 2019. Meanwhile, a meeting between the state government and the union, which held on Wednesday, ended in a deadlock. Kano commercial tricycle operators suspend 3-day-old strike. In an earlier interview, Trust TV's Idris Jibrin gives an update.
Well, thank you, Ibrahim. And the latest here in Kano, like you know, for the past 4 days, the Association of Tricycle Riders started a strike over what they call operating permits, which the Kano State Roads and Traffic Agency normally used to collect the renewal of the permits. Now, yesterday they called off the strike, and today, like you can see, they are back on the streets doing their business of tricycle operation. But this suspension of the strike is only temporary, because they said they are suspending it for 1 week, because the government says they should come back and continue doing their businesses for a period of 1 week. Pending that period of 1 week, the government will announce the new situation, either to reduce the renewal fees or...
In business, oil price surpassed $85 a barrel for the first time in 3 months. On Wednesday, Brent crude futures, the global benchmark, rose 1.66% to $85.11 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude futures increased 2.25% to $83.05 a barrel. The price of Brent crude had crossed the $85 mark on October 15, 2021. Last week, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, known as OPEC+, decided to increase oil output by 400,000 barrels per day. Rising oil prices will translate to an increase in Nigeria's oil revenue. However, Nigeria has been plowing its oil revenue into fuel subsidy shortfall payments, which stripped the country of over 1 trillion naira last year. Despite abundance of liquefied petroleum gas, popularly known as cooking gas, which experts say is capable of generating over 100,000 megawatts of electricity, the rising cost of the product has forced some LPG users to shift to charcoal or firewood as consumers of the commodity raise an alarm over the persistent hike in price. Trust TV's Fatima Musa speaks to some consumers on the price of cooking gas.
While reacting to the recent marginal drop in the cost of cooking gas, the federal government noted it was putting measures in place to ensure further reduction in the cost of liquefied petroleum gas, popularly called cooking gas. According to findings, the price of 12.5 kg LPG has dropped from 8,800 to between 8,400 and 8,200. In some outlets, the price of the commodity dropped between 7,800 and 8,000. The product had increased by 240% for 12.5 kg, moving up from 3,000 to 10,200 within the first 10 months of the year 2021. Sometime last year, there was a huge increment of gas price in the market. The average price of cooking gas is 750 naira per kg in Nigeria. At least this is what the retailers sell in the black market, and is subject to change due to fluctuation of price over time. We are here to find out what the current price of gas is, and also to hear the views of people who use gas within the FCT.
Well, the price increase has really affected people going by the income that people are earning. Like way back, we used to buy a kilogram for about 340 something naira, and now it has doubled the price. So I mean, everybody is feeling the brunt of the increase. I feel the government should be able to regulate the price and drop it down for the masses to be able to actually afford to buy gas and use in their homes.
Honestly speaking, the price is so high. It's on a higher side. In fact, I remember the last time I bought my gas at the rate of 8,500. Honestly speaking, the country has gone to something else. And right now, as I speak to you, I'm thinking of going back to charcoal. Maybe I will start using charcoal, since the bag of charcoal now is 3,005. And the gas, honestly speaking, I don't think I can really make it. Yeah, because you cook in the morning, afternoon and evening. So you can see, if we are to go on that price, I don't think I can cope. We usually buy gas at the rate of 4,005, later increase to 5,000, 6,000. So going for that higher rate, honestly speaking, is still on the higher side.
As of the gas, every day is just going up. The price is just inflating every day. We don't have choice now. We keep using it because that is the only option we have. Even the light is not stable for us to use it.
But there was
for the federal government, if they can reduce the price, it will help the society, because many people are complaining. Even we ourselves, we are complaining. But when you don't have choice, you don't have anything to do than to buy. But some people buy out of pain. But if they can reduce the price, we'll be satisfied with it. Let it come a bit low. But even those that are using kerosene, they're still complaining. So the gas and everything is just high.
According to some gas users, there is need for the federal government to address this issue with urgency. And some are hopeful that maybe the price may come down a bit more so that they may be able to afford it. Fatima A. Musa, Trust TV News, Abuja.
On the foreign scene, 2 Israeli officers have been killed by mistake by one of their troops during a security patrol near their base in the occupied West Bank. A statement by Israel's army say a soldier in the unit mistook them for attackers and as a result opened fire on the 2 officers. The officers had finished a military drill in the firing zone of the Nabi Musa base and were patrolling when they identified a suspicious figure. They initiated the procedure to arrest the individual, including shooting in the air when they were shot by another soldier who misidentified the officers as possible attackers. Pioneer Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education Council, Professor Gidado Tahir, is dead. Late Tahir lectured at the Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, and the University of Abuja, where he rose to the position of Deputy Vice Chancellor before retiring. Born in Tongo Town in Adamawa State on December 29, 1949, he became the chairman, Board of National Commission for Nomadic Education. The deceased attended the Church of the Brethren Mission Secondary School in Waka, Biu, Borno between 1956 and 1967, and later Government Secondary School, Bauchi, and graduated from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria in 1970. He later attended Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, USA, where he obtained an MSc and PhD in higher and continuing education and served as provost of Federal College of Education, Yola, from 1987 to 1994. He is survived by his wife, Asma Utahir, children and grandchildren. And finally, in sports, Super Eagles have shifted their focus completely to Saturday's confrontation with the Falcons of Jadiane at the Stade Rumde Adjia in Groa, less than 48 hours after their defeat of the Pharaohs of Egypt in the opening match of Group D of the 33rd Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. Just as it happened in their debut 59 years ago, Nigeria had Egypt and Sudan lined up as their first two opponents of the competition. In 1963, the Egyptians hammered the Cinderellas 6-3, and Sudan followed with a 4-0 whiplash of the newcomers. Tuesday's 1-0 victory is Nigeria's first ever win over Egypt in a first match at the AFCON. 12 years ago, the Angolan city of Benguela, the Pharaohs came from a deficit as a result of Chinedu Obasi's early goal to lash the Eagles 3-1. Apart from their 4-0 win over the Eagles in 1963 in Accra, the Falcons' 1-0 defeat of Nigeria in an AFCON qualifier in Khartoum in October 2014 is one of the principal reasons for the absence of the green and white in the 30th finals in Equatorial Guinea 7 years ago. With that, we've come to the end of Trust TV News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.